Lena knew something was wrong before she even reached the apartment door. The hallway felt different that evening. Unusually warm, carrying a faint scent she did not recognize. She adjusted the grocery bags in her hands and slowed her steps. It had been a long day at work, the kind that left her shoulders heavy and her thoughts quiet, yet a strange tension pulled at her chest. As she stood outside the door searching for her keys, she heard laughter from inside, light, relaxed, and unmistakably feminine. For a second, she froze. Kareem rarely laughed like that anymore, not with her. Their conversations had become practical over the past year, filled with schedules, bills, and tired exchanges at the end of long days. The sound felt foreign, like hearing a memory that did not belong to her life anymore. She told herself it must be the television or a visiting colleague. Kareem sometimes invited business partners over without notice. Still, the laughter continued, soft and comfortable. Followed by Kareem's voice, lower, warmer than she had heard in months. Lena's grip tightened around the grocery bags, clicked inside. She stared at the door, suddenly aware of her own breathing. Instinct whispered the truth before her mind accepted it. When she unlocked the door and pushed it open, time seemed to slow. The living room lights were dim, candles glowing along the shelves. Her candles, the ones she lit during quiet weekends. When she tried to make their home feel peaceful again, Kareem sat on the couch, leaning toward a woman Lena had never seen before. The woman wore Lena's pale blue nightgown, the fabric soft against her shoulders, familiar in a way that felt deeply personal. Lena noticed small details instantly, her blanket folded neatly beside them, her favorite mug resting in the woman's hand, the easy closeness between them. No one spoke at first. Kareem stood quickly, surprise flashing across his face before settling into annoyance. The woman looked embarrassed but not shocked, as if she had expected this moment eventually. Lena remained near the door, grocery bags hanging at her sides, her mind strangely calm. She waited for an explanation that did not come. "You're home early," Kareem said, his tone uneasy but defensive. The words echoed louder than shouting would have. Lena felt something inside her shift, not breaking but rearranging. She walked forward slowly and placed the groceries on the table with careful precision. Apples rolled slightly inside one bag. She straightened them automatically, focusing on small movements because they were easier than facing the reality in front of her. "How long?" she asked. Kareem rubbed his forehead, avoiding her eyes. "It's not what you think," but his voice lacked conviction. The room itself told the truth. Nothing here looked accidental. The woman stood, pulling the nightgown tighter around herself. "I should go," she murmured quietly. Kareem hesitated, then nodded. He did not ask her to stay. He did not ask Lena to forgive him either. The stranger gathered her belongings quickly and left without meeting Lena's gaze. The door closed behind her, leaving silence thicker than before. Lena expected anger to explode inside her. But instead, she felt an overwhelming clarity. Every small moment from the past year suddenly made sense. The late nights, the distracted conversations, the way Kareem stopped asking about her day, the growing distance she had tried to fix by trying harder. "You've been distant," Kareem said after a moment, as if explaining a business problem. "We haven't been happy." Lena looked at him carefully. He truly believed this explanation justified what had happened. In his mind, the betrayal was a consequence, not a choice. "We could have talked," she replied calmly. "I tried," he said, frustration creeping into his voice. "You were always busy or tired." The accusation surprised her. She replayed memories quickly. Evenings she cooked dinner while answering work messages. Weekends spent helping him organize business plans. Nights she stayed awake worrying about finances when his company struggled. She realized they had been living different versions of the same marriage. Kareem saw neglect. Lena saw effort. She walked toward the bedroom without arguing. The familiar space felt smaller now. She opened the wardrobe and pulled out a suitcase. Her movements were steady, almost mechanical. She packed only essentials: clothes, documents, a photograph of her parents, and a notebook she rarely used. Each item felt like proof of a life she needed to reclaim. Behind her, Kareem leaned against the doorway. "You're overreacting," he said quietly. "We can fix this." She paused but did not turn around. The words sounded automatic, spoken more from habit than sincerity. "Did you think about fixing it before tonight?" she asked. He had no answer. The silence confirmed everything when she finished packing. Lena closed the suitcase and looked around the room one last time. Memories filled every corner. Laughter from early years, shared dreams, promises spoken easily when life felt simple. She realized none of those moments were false. They were simply finished as she walked past Kareem toward the door. He finally sounded uncertain. "Where will you go?" "I don't know," she said honestly. He waited, expecting her to hesitate, to cry, to demand reassurance. Lena did none of those things. She picked up her suitcase and stepped into the hallway. The door closed behind her with a soft click. Outside, the evening air felt colder than she expected. Traffic moved normally. People laughed nearby, and life continued without noticing that her world had just changed. She began walking without direction, the rhythm of her steps grounding her thoughts. Shock slowly gave way to emotion, not rage, disappointment. She realized she was mourning not only her marriage, but the version of herself who believed loyalty guaranteed safety. Her phone buzzed several times. Kareem calling. She silenced it without looking. Hours later, she checked into a small hotel. Near the edge of the city, the room was plain, the bed unfamiliar, yet she felt an unexpected sense of relief. No tension lingered here. No pretending. She sat by the window and replayed the evening again, examining every detail like pieces of dot. "I've told you some cute elfed pieces, a puzzle." The nightgown hurt the most, not because of jealousy, but because it symbolized how easily her place had been replaced. Someone else had stepped into her life while she was still living it. Tears finally came, quiet and brief. She allowed herself to cry, then wiped her face and stared at her reflection in the dark glass. She barely recognized the tired woman looking back. For years, Lena had measured her worth through stability, being supportive, patient, dependable. She believed love meant endurance. Now she wondered when endurance had turned into invisibility. The next morning, sunlight filled the room. Lena woke with a strange calmness. The pain remained, but alongside it was determination. She realized she had two choices: return and rebuild something already broken, or step into uncertainty and rediscover who she was without compromise. Kareem sent messages throughout the day, apologies mixed with explanations, promises mixed with blame. Each message revealed more about his mindset. He missed comfort, routine, familiarity. He did not yet understand the depth of what he had lost. Lena did not respond. Instead, she walked through the city, noticing things she had ignored. For years, small cafes, bookstores, parks filled with people living independent lives. She felt both lonely and free. By evening, she rented a modest apartment across town. Signing the lease felt surreal, like crossing an invisible boundary. For the first time in years, every decision belonged entirely to her. That night, she unpacked. Slowly, the quiet no longer felt empty. It felt honest. She sat on the floor, knees pulled close, thinking about Kareem, not with hatred, but with clarity. He had not betrayed her in a single moment. The betrayal had grown quietly through neglect, assumptions, and unspoken resentment. Both of them had allowed distance to grow. But only one had chosen deception. A thought settled firmly in her mind. She would not return to a place where she had to compete for her own space. As the city lights flickered outside her window, Lena understood that leaving was only the beginning. The pain would not disappear quickly, and forgiveness, whether for him or herself, would take time. But beneath the hurt, something stronger had awakened. She was no longer waiting to be valued, and though she did not yet know what came next, she felt certain of one thing. The woman who walked out of that apartment would never again accept being invisible in her own life. Lena's new apartment was small, quiet, and almost empty. But every morning she woke with clearer thoughts than she had felt in years. The silence no longer frightened her. It gave her space to think, and thinking slowly turned into understanding. During the first week, she avoided looking back. She focused on work, organizing her schedule, rebuilding routines that belonged only to her. Yet memories followed her everywhere. The sound of laughter behind the apartment door, the calm way Kareem had justified his actions, the certainty in his voice when he assumed she would forgive him. That assumption stayed with her the most. He never believed she could truly leave. At night, Lena reviewed old emails and documents connected to Kareem's business. For years, she had helped quietly managing finances, preparing reports, calming clients when deals became unstable. She never asked for recognition because she believed they were building something together. Now she saw the truth. Her effort had become invisible support, holding everything upright. Without her, the structure was weaker than anyone realized. The idea of revenge did not arrive suddenly. It grew slowly, shaped by sleepless nights and unanswered questions. She did not want to hurt him out of anger. She wanted him to understand what her absence meant. She wanted balance restored. Still, doubt followed every thought. Was she becoming cruel? Was walking away not enough? She argued with herself constantly. Some mornings she decided to forget everything and move forward peacefully. Other days she remembered his calm expression while another woman sat in her place and determination returned. Lena chose a careful path. She would not lie, threaten, or destroy anything illegally. She simply stopped protecting what she had once quietly maintained. She separated shared accounts according to legal agreements, notified clients that she would no longer assist with company coordination, and stepped away from responsibilities that had never officially been hers. The changes were subtle but powerful. Within weeks, Kareem's business began to struggle. Meetings were missed because no one tracked schedules. The way Lena had, clients waited longer for replies. Financial planning lost its precision. Nothing collapsed overnight, but small cracks appeared everywhere. Kareem called repeatedly. At first his messages sounded irritated, then confused, finally worried. "Why are clients saying you're gone?" He asked during one call. She eventually answered, "I am gone." Lena replied calmly, "You handled things without telling me how much you were doing." He said, frustration mixing with panic, "Now everything is a mess." Lena listened quietly. For years she had explained her workload, but he had never truly heard it. Now reality spoke louder than she ever could. "I didn't change anything," she said. "I just stopped doing work that wasn't mine." The truth unsettled him. He realized too late how much depended on her presence. After the call ended, Lena sat alone, staring at her phone. She expected satisfaction, yet instead she felt heavy, watching him struggle. Did not erase her pain. Revenge, she discovered, was not a sharp victory, but a slow emotional weight. Days passed, and she focused on building her own professional identity. Former clients reached out to her directly, praising her organization and calm leadership. The first time people recognized her skills without attaching them to Kareem's name. Each success strengthened her confidence, but also deepened her internal conflict. Part of her wanted Kareem to fully fail so he would understand loss completely. Another part wondered if continuing would only keep her tied to the past. One evening, she received a long message from him. It contained no excuses, only honesty. He admitted he had underestimated her, assumed stability would always remain, and never imagined she would truly walk away. Reading his words stirred complicated emotions: sadness, validation, and exhaustion. She realized revenge required constant attention. Every decision forced her to relive the betrayal again and again. Instead of moving forward, she remained, connected to him through anger. That realization frightened her more than the betrayal itself. She began questioning her motives. Was she seeking justice or simply recognition? Would his suffering actually heal her, or would it delay her recovery? Despite these doubts, she agreed to meet him when he finally asked. She told herself the meeting would provide closure, but deep down she knew it was something else, a final test. She needed to see whether she still wanted revenge once she faced him again. The night before the meeting, Lena barely slept. Memories and possibilities circled her mind. She imagined confronting him, telling him every hurtful detail, watching regret fill his face. She imagined walking away silently. She imagined forgiving him and starting over. Each scenario felt possible, yet none felt entirely right standing by her window. Watching city lights flicker below, she realized how much she had changed. The woman who left the apartment weeks earlier acted from shock and pain. The woman standing there now understood her own strength. She no longer needed revenge to prove her worth, but she still needed to decide what justice meant for her. As morning approached, Lena felt calm again. The plan she once built so carefully no longer felt like a weapon. It felt like a question waiting to be answered tomorrow. She would face Kareem not as someone seeking punishment, but as someone choosing who she wanted to become after betrayal. And, for the first time since that night, Lena understood that the real battle was not against him, it was within herself.